You're watching The Wave. I'm Frank Kanshi. Leading Thai companies attended the Select USA Investment Summit last week to seek opportunities to invest more to balance tariff impact. And the government also developed a 5-point policy to prepare for negotiations with Washington, D.C. Joining me now is Dr. Kirida Bhaopichitr, Director of Economic Intelligence Service of Thailand Development in Research Institute อาจารย์สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีค่ะคุณแฟรงค์
Great. So I just want to get your analysis. Of course, I think Thailand's right now, the government wants to really negotiate that tariff rate. So how can Thailand continue to thrive, but in a way that we can see that the rate of tariff still unresolved at this point?
Well, I think at this moment, we're actually seeing a lot of uncertainties. But at the moment, we're also seeing a surge in Thai exports to the US and to other parts of the world as well. I think that's because many of the importers, fear the rise in tariff rates after June. So they are sort of front loading all these imports. So in this time period, of course, we need to take the most advantage, of the increased orders that we're getting for Thai exports, especially to the U.S. at the moment. But of course, at the moment, we don't know what will happen when the deadline of the 90 days reciprocal tariff comes about. What's important actually is how much will Thailand, be taxed compared to our competitors, right? So, for example, we don't know how much, let's say, Vietnam's tariff rates will be, or even Indonesia's tariff rate will be compared to Thailand, and even with China, right? So again, I think for the moment we really need to plan for the future, and I think the future is going to be worse than it used to be, meaning that I don't think tariffs will go back down to zero from the US. So we will need to face a higher tariff in any case, and we have to look for the tariffs that our competitors are facing as well. So I think for Thailand to be able to thrive, we need to adjust quite a lot as well. And as we have discussed before, Good Frank, there will be more imports coming into Thailand as well. How do we manage those imports so that they can be used as inputs and we add value to that as an example of how we can manage.
Ajahn, I think, of course, as what you said about the good news is our volume of export is still growing at this moment. But since last time we spoke, of course, 1 month ago, I think you talked to so many experts too. Right now, Thailand's government, they already proposed that 5-point trade policy. Of course, that you talk about cooperation between Thailand and US, no matter it's on agricultural product, energy import there. Do you think that policy is effective? And what do we need to see more from the government?
Well, I think the 5-point policies are, are along the lines of what the U.S. Government is looking for, right? So basically, if I can just summarize it into 3 major areas. One is that we would like to import more U.S. products, right? Whether they be energy, or we'll reduce tariffs for U.S. products, or we will increase the quotas, of imports of U.S. products. So that's one group. The other group is that we will also tackle, the transshipment that passes through Thailand from China to the U.S. and vice versa as well, right? And that's something that the U.S. government is also keen to tackle. And the third area is, of course, that that Thai companies are encouraged to invest more in the United States. So those are the 3 areas which I think are valid, and that's something that the U.S. government would also like to see. But of course, it will not reverse our trade surplus, right, trade surplus in goods with the U.S. It will not reverse from a surplus to a deficit, but it will definitely help reduce the surplus that Thailand has with the U.S. And at the same time, we will also get cheaper, U.S. Imports, as inputs to our production as well. So I think those are valid, proposals. But of course, the devil's will be in the details, right, Frank? Whether what products we will import more from the U.S., which ones would we reduce tariffs for or increase quotas for. So that again, I see actually as an opportunity for for Thai companies to get maybe cheaper inputs, as agriculture products from the US can be imported into Thailand at a cheaper price, right? So again, the coin has two sides, right? There are people who would benefit from these cheaper inputs or raw materials, but on the other side, there will be businesses that will be impacted directly because these products will compete with them. So again, we will have to balance both sides.
Ajahn, of course, right now we always talk about what should the government do, but like last time we talked about what shouldn't the government do is to lower the tariff rate on US made products. So I think, of course, you talk to so many experts, economists, and those people really on the ground, the industrial business people too. What shouldn't the government do at this moment? Do they have a line for the government to, when negotiating with the government of the United States, what shouldn't the government agree with? Have you got any sense?
Well, I think what we should not do is that we should not take sides, right? So if the U.S. government were to say that in order to satisfy them, we should raise tariffs against Chinese products. This is just an example, right? Or we should try to restrict Chinese imports. I think that we should not do because we should be fair to all sides, right? For example, on this transshipment issue, of course, that's not legal, right? Because actually the origin of the product should be from Thailand if it's going to be stamped made in Thailand. So of course, transshipment should definitely be discouraged by the Thai government if it's coming from China, passing through Thailand and going to the US. But at the same time, if the US is also transshipping things through Thailand to China as well, because China is also erecting tariffs on US products at the moment, right? So if vice versa is happening from the US to China, we should also stop that as well. So I think what we should not do is to take sides, but anything that is that it's according to the rules and that we should not violate. I think those are the things that we should do.
Right. Another part I have to ask you, I think this is your analysis always very accurately. I think to the point that everyone is expecting lower tariff rate at this moment. What do you think is the reasonable rate for Thailand's products from US at this moment?
You mean from what the U.S. will tax Thailand? Is that what?
What's the
Yes,
reasonable rate for that?
Well, I don't actually. I mean, as an economist, I think the reasonable rate should be zero, right? Because we should have free trade, but of course that's not possible. So I think the rate that would actually be beneficial to Thailand is that if our tariff rates that the U.S. will charge us will be comparable to those in the region, right? To our competitors, that would mean that we can maintain our competitiveness and we would not lose out, because of the higher tariff rates that will be charged compared to our competitors. But of course, there is no one particular rate that will be that will actually be suitable. As I mentioned, if it's going to be suitable, it should not. There should not be any tariff rates actually.
Yeah, right. But this is not the case for the President Trump then, because at this moment, of course, he only focuses on protectionism at this moment for the tariff policy between countries. I want to take our line to Thailand's position in ASEAN at this moment, because we already see IMF, World Bank, international organizations, and yesterday, of course, the National Economic Agency, NASDAQ, already gave us a very concerning rate of Thailand's GDP growth this year to below 2%, as what you indicated last month in our interview. So how can the government really incentivize the economy? I think this is what Thai people wants to see, as in they already postponed that digital wallet scheme, 10K cash handout scheme. What's your analysis, Ajahn?
I think my analysis will be what I have always been saying is that the best way to to incentivize or raise the consumption of Thai people is to actually raise their incomes, right? And raising their incomes sustainably does not come from giving one-time cash transfers, right? So raising the income sustainably is actually to give them incentives to develop themselves so that they have better skills and they can work in the modern businesses such as the digital businesses or know how to use use AI that can also benefit their own business if they are not employees as well. So I still think incentives that would raise the skills of people so that they can afford to have better jobs and better pay, or if they're not employees and they can make more money on their own. I think that's something that would be very important going forward in this very uncertain world. So you need to have actually many different skills to be able to survive in upcoming years. So I think that is a better incentive than just giving cash transfers.
And how can Thailand maintain that position in ASEAN now? Because according to NASDAQ or other international organizations, when we compare with ASEAN 5, other ASEAN 5 countries here, Thailand's economic growth is at the bottom of the chart. So, of course, Singapore, Malaysia, they are on the top, and Indonesia too. How can Thailand really maintain our position, as in maintaining the competitiveness in the region?
Well, I think there are a few things that we can do, right? One, of course, as I mentioned, is to raise the skills of our people, and I don't mean only youth, but even adults. So lifelong learning will be very important. But secondly, I also think there are many regulations in Thailand that are still burdensome to businesses, right? Unlike those in Singapore, that's very efficient, for example. So streamlining or getting rid of outdated regulations for businesses would be very important to make them more effective, efficient, and attractive for businesses to do business in Thailand as well. So I think that's also quite important. And I think the third thing that I think would raise Thailand's competitiveness, of course, other regulations that has to do with competition, right? If we promote more competition, so that small medium enterprises can also thrive, that would also help promote jobs and employment, right, and businesses here in Thailand as well. And I think lastly, I would just like to mention as well that the surrounding sort of like I mentioned a lot about regulations, but other surrounding issues in the ecosystem for businesses are things like digital infrastructure, right, should be accessible at a lower price, or even energy should be made cleaner, so that it will be more attractive to businesses as well. So I think there are many things that we can do in order to uplift our competitiveness vis-a-vis other countries in the region.
Right. These are very, I think, hot potatoes for our government, no matter it's international tariff rate here or domestic economic competitiveness, that we have to compete with other neighbors and fellows in the region. Thank you for your time, Ajahn, today. Dr. Kirida Bhaopichitr, Director of Economic Intelligence Service of Thailand Development Research Institute. Thank you for your time, Ajahn.
Thank you. You're very welcome.